No. So I'm not crazy about
The
the
league.
playoffs. Be good for me, but
I was
I'm
looking
really
at
not.
I was looking at a little bit of football yesterday.
I'm not a big football fan.
Yeah, I don't like it
Mm-mm.
either.
But basketball, I will watch, and
Cause,
I love the playoffs.
cause I don't know nothing about football.
But
But
yeah, once they
yeah,
start doing that, letting them jump from team and you be in the playoffs and going to a new team,
yeah,
how did you do that?
yeah,
So yeah, it just lost its appeal to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
But I still love the sport
The
in
sport,
itself.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite sport. Anything you want to cover that we left off on?
Let's see, where were we?
Yeah, I found the commercial with Idris Elba. Albert, how do you say his name? He said the game was fixed. It's the Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, and he says the game is fixed. He said you gotta be faster, sharper, quicker, and something about winning or losing. And at the end, pretty much, and this is me paraphrasing what he said. Pretty much, it doesn't matter because the game is fixed.
Okay, because yeah, I wrote read.
You know, and that's kind of how I feel because there's never been a time where I hadn't done anything to be on this medicine. You know, when they initially put me on it, it was because they thought I was a snitch. Now it's because I'm supposed to be a criminal slash treasonous, and I ain't never committed treason in my life. You know, and the crazy thing about that is like, for example, like how when we first met and I brought up, was there any significance like behind your name, like Christy Wynn?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I also had a therapist named Paul Malone, and then the previous one I had here, her name was Murray McGovern, and I brought the same question to her. You know, I was like, I'm Mary, Murray McGovern. Is there any significance to your name? And she was like, no. I was like, because it got McGovern. So that can trigger to me government. As if you're government or whatever. And she was like, no, and because when you look at if they're playing the name game, and I'm not trying to accuse, but if the name game is being played,
Mm-hmm.
how do they correlate with each other? Because the trigger that your name give me versus the trigger that Paul Malone give me, they kind of contradict one another. Because Paul Malone, oh shit, I said his last name. Kind of slipped up saying his last name. But anyway, his name triggers a guy from my job when I was working that pretty much threatened me, and you know, and I was first put on this medicine, went back to work, and that's when everyone was accusing me of being a snitch. And he said, coming out of the entrance, he was like, "We'll be seeing you later,"
Mm-hmm.
in a aggressive manner, like disposition. And I'm sitting there like, what are you talking about? And it was reiterated when I was dealing with the counselor center in Gloucester.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't mind, don't I wouldn't put his last name because
Well, no, that's a name triggers.
okay. Uh,
Mm-mm.
and it was reiterated when I was in Gloucester, and my therapist there that they gave me was a male, and his name is Paul Malone. So the trigger there was, that people want to harm and Murray, like her trigger, McGovern, that's trigger government, and like yours trigger, like blaming my family for my circumstances. But I kind of don't agree with that entirely because the simple fact, like my mother came to me crying before medicine ever touched my body, and it was when I started working for weird stuff went on there, and so the triggers with the names, they kind of don't make sense to me, like, and I think after like going on 18 years, um, older explanation, like, for example, Martin McCover, that's a trigger that government has me on this medicine. And then when I see commercials, like they got a progressive commercial, car insurance,
Mm-hmm.
that says, referring to Triple E, saying that it was us it was us the whole time, implying that this medicine was the American government,
From the progressive commercial.
and they was doing construction work, and something about bowling and trophies for winning the bowling championship, in which I know what that trigger mean too. That's referring to an ex I used to date, and
Why did you say that?
because we went bowling, and uh, we went bowling, and it don't have much significance.
Mm-hmm.
I dated her, and another guy dated her later after me, and you know he's someone that's mixed up in this too, unfortunately.
How is so?
Uh, because he um, allegedly messed with a different ex of mine,
He
and
met he
yeah,
he went with two of your exes.
well, one of them I didn't officially, the bowling one I really didn't officially date. That we just went bowling. Like
Mm-hmm.
me and the one I was with for 6 years, we went on a little stint where we broke up for like a couple of weeks, and I went on a date with the girl, and we went bowling, and me and the one I was dating off for roughly 6 years since I was in middle school, we got back together, and then he started talking to the one I went bowling with, and like all that's connected, like because you know not
Y'all went on more than one date?
yeah, we talked up until pretty much all the time. When I went bowling with, we talked pretty much every day up until I was put on this medicine.
So tell me, who was he to you?
uh the guy,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in jail in Middlesex, which is in Saluda, they brought him there because of the alleged STD scare and accusations, and the um, alleged attempted. I ain't even keep saying attempted murder because I didn't try to murder nobody. The alleged attempted whatever the government want to call what happened that morning, to where they initially gave me this medicine, because the incident happened, and
What was the incident?
I spoke on it a little bit.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I fell asleep during the
Okay.
day, and because I was stressed out, it was all these accusations being made, all this people treating me bad, me stressed out. So I fell asleep in the middle of the day, woke up like 11, 12, went and looked at TV. About 2 o'clock in the morning, the TV started showing Girls Going Wild commercials repeatedly. It started showing STD commercials repeatedly, which is two, and both of the channels that was doing it was under Viacom umbrella. So they was owned by Viacom. And then I'm like, and it was a Wayne's Brothers and a Jamie Foxx show. That's in the Jamie Foxx show spoke of Ferraris, and which correlated with a song that had just came out from a rapper named Cameron, talking about all my niggas are coming straight from minimum wages. Something about Ferraris, we got them in flavors. So when I saw that Jamie Foxx show, which was a what you call it, a rerun,
Mhm.
but the way it was done, you know, it was like puzzled together with the to match the song. The song was puzzled together to match the Jamie Foxx episode, and the Wayne's brothers was too. And with the Girls Going Wild's commercial shown repeatedly, and the STD commercial sound repeatedly, I'm sitting there like, I think the TV is trying to communicate with me. And out of curiosity, you know, the ringtone came on the screen and said, text this number. And out of curiosity, I texted. And on a flip phone that only showed a date, the time, and the battery life, I got a message on the phone. And I don't mean when you flip it over. It was on the front of the phone where on that little half an inch square display, you know, it said be at such and such place, time, or else. And what that triggered to me was be at such and such place, time, or we was gonna hurt your entire family, and you too. And this was about 4 or 5 in the morning. The sun was just starting to come up, maybe 5:30, I don't know. But as I hop in the vehicle, a quarter mile from my house, Chris Sampson was sitting up on the hill, waiting for me. And I'm like, looking back on it, and he followed me all the way to Norfolk. Him, JB, and an unmarked police officer, and his and a police officer in his unmarked vehicle. And I told you last week all the things that happened there. But anyway, it's upsetting to me because, you know, you could tell it's a frame job if if you was to witness Chris Sampson or put him on a stand and he wouldn't commit perjury, he would likely say that he knew to be at my house before I be a quarter mile from my house, before I even got those messages on TV. And the reason why I say that is because I didn't get them till probably 1:30, after 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I doubt the local police showed up to his house 2 o'clock in the morning, waking him up out of his sleep, briefing him, telling him where to go, giving him some type of GPS device. And he knew what he was doing when he's not even a police officer. He was just a civilian just like I was. So to say that he didn't know before 12 o'clock that night would, to me, would be a stretch. To say that he didn't know before 12 o'clock that night. Well, whereas I didn't know till like 2 o'clock the following morning, you know. And I think if they was to question him, he would probably say the same thing, you know. And that's just telling you that I was being framed because I had no premeditated thoughts of anything. I mean, harming anybody, doing anything to anybody, you know. And I wouldn't have, you know. And you know, the crazy thing about that, if they use anybody as bait, like an ex-girlfriend as bait, allegedly, if they really did that, did they notify her and her family that she was being used as bait? You know, because the government would get in trouble for that. And it's not like, I don't know if you remember that show on TV where it was a hijacking of cars. What they would do is they would go to some random spot, leave the car door open, leave the car running, and set up cameras. And people would walk and see the car running, see nobody in it, see the door open. They would hop in the car and steal it and drive off. And then the police would rush them, and they would get arrested.
The car would cut off.
Something like that. Yeah.
The car would cut off. I know what you're talking about.
And they would get arrested and charged with what grand theft. You know, now that was a television show. Can you really do things like that? Maybe. I don't know. But at the end of the day, the guy that chose to get in the car done that on his own free will. that ain't the case with my situation. Like, I was told to do whatever they wanted me to do, and you would have to ask them what that was. But it seemed like, they didn't have any idea what I was trying to do or what they thought I was trying to do. You know, it seems like because they originally, gave the medicine to my childhood doctor, and he told me I saw too much, or he said I saw too much, and was like, try this medicine for depression, you know, and if they thought I was trying to harm somebody, why didn't they arrest me? Why didn't they tell him that, hey, Terrell tried to hurt someone, Terrell tried to do this, Terrell tried to do that. We want you to give him this medicine as like a jail diversion program. If I had really committed a crime. But no, they told him, and he told me, or said that I saw too much, and then he wrote down on a piece of paper to go read this book, or pick up this book from the local bookstore, and the title of the book was Bad Things Happen to Good People. And that's the side of things, and it's 2006. That's the side of things that people really don't see, where they was calling me a good person. Now, with the smear campaign and the propaganda, I'm everything that's wrong with America.
Was that the childhood doctor that did that?
Yeah, Dr. Table. Yeah.
Okay.
The same guy that ultimately gave me this medicine and said that I saw too much, told me to go get this book. And then there was this therapist named Chris McKinley out of Richmond, and I don't know how he got into play, but anyway, I was to go see him, and when I saw him, he told me, that my friends. Well, I said, I felt like my friends was trying to set me up, and I wasn't doing anything illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And the therapist said they were, and not just that. On the way to Richmond, you might as well say I got a government escort to his office.
You said you weren't doing anything illegal, and he said they were. Who was he speaking of?
My friends.
Your friends were doing something illegal.
No, my friends was trying to set me up. This is how it went. I was like, I felt like with all the stuff with this job in Triple E and my friends, and me being stressed out to where I was sleeping during the day and not eating.
Mm-hmm.
I said I felt like my friends was trying to set me up, and I wasn't doing anything illegal. Had it for years, and he was like, yeah, they were. But I pretty much got like a government escort there to his office once I got in the city of Richmond, because there was two black Cadillac DeVilles with purple lights on top of the car, and they pretty much escorted me to his office. And I was already on the medicine then, because after I was given the medicine, a few days passed, maybe even a week, and I finally started taking it. I didn't take the medicine initially, and I said 3-4 days after I got it is when I took it. And it could have been longer, or it could have been, I don't think it was any sooner. It had to be at least 2 days after I got it. But the details there, I really wasn't keeping track of when I first took it. I knew I didn't take it the first day I got it. But anyway, I was on the medicine, headed to Richmond. Got in Richmond, in the city, and two Cadillac DeVilles came up out of nowhere with purple lights on top of them, and pretty much escorted me to his office. And that's why you see the purple on the $5 bill. That might sound crazy, but there's a reason behind the purple, why the lights was purple. Because it plays off of something before I left my house that morning. And it was the Jamie Foxx commercial with the Ferraris, and Cameron saying Ferraris, we got them in flavors. Because if you know pink, and then he said he stopped wearing that because everybody started copying him, and he switched to purple. And then he had a mixtape or an album named Purple Haze. I think he had a liquor with a flavor of Purple Haze. So, knowing hip hop, and music, you know, I kind of put that together. That that's what that was in reference to.
The
And
purple haze.
the purple lights on top of the car or the DeVille. So it's like I'm a pretty intelligent person. I like to think, and I'm not well educated in school. When you talk in school, but I'm a pretty intelligent person. I can read between the lines. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get this far by not being intelligent in the sense of, you know, I wouldn't even got on the medicine if I was dumb, because I wouldn't have realized the TV was talking to me, but yeah, so, but none of this can be proven, so, and that's intentional. Things are done to where you can't prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. And I'm not talking about on my behalf, and like that got something to do with my intelligence. No, I'm not partaking in anything that's going on. What I'm saying is things are done on their behalf, so it can't be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And I remember, meeting this guy. I ain't gonna say his name, and he was like, if you, he used to work with me. You're like, yeah, if you're gonna break the law, and he wasn't referring to me, but it was just something he said. He was like, yeah, and this was like 2004, 2003. It had nothing to do with anything that's going on. And he said to me that if you're gonna break the law and do something illegal, it might well be smart to read up on the law so you can get away with it. Yeah. And basically, I think we was talking about pot because pot wasn't legal back then.
Okay.
Yeah, so and he might have known that around that time I was selling pot. So
So that was the criminal activity you were speaking of
what you mean?
when you said you went to jail.
No, no, I never went to jail for selling pot. Like when this situation came around, I hadn't sold pot for over a year.
Okay.
Yeah, like I hadn't sold pot for over a year more. Like I stopped selling pot at 19.
Okay.
19 going into 20. When I was 20, I didn't sell pot, and me and my ex, we wasn't dating, and that whole time I didn't sell pot, not once, and even when I got that job in Richmond, I wasn't selling pot, and so I don't mind admitting to selling pot. And I only sold pot for 2 years. I sold pot from like 17 and a half years of age to 19 and a half years of age. 20 up until 21 and then put on this medicine, I wasn't doing anything illegal. And yeah, so. But yeah, like when I was working at this job, this guy might have known, because it's a small town and people talk. He might have known I sold pot because, like I said, I was like 18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, he was like, and I don't know how we got on the subject. It was just small talk. It wasn't something where he was warning me or nothing like that, or like anything crazy where he thought I was gonna get arrested or anything like that. Because even when I sold pot, at times I worked 2 jobs and never less than 1 job. Like, it was never a thing where I just sat on my tail and tried to make money off pot. Like, that was more so of a extracurricular activity because I smoked pot. you know, you know, and which I'm not afraid to admit because, again, it's legal now, you know.
Right.
But yeah, and he was saying if you gonna break the law, it's good to read up on the law that you're breaking, so you know how to get away with it. And you know, it wasn't. And I would say I don't think it was directed towards me in any sense, because we was engaged in a conversation. I can't even say we was actually referring to pot or talking about pot for him to say that. I don't know how we got on like the laws and breaking the law, but it wasn't nothing particular that was the driving force to any of our discussion. But anyway, they know that person name because I done thought about that person name that told me that. And I said about 3 weeks ago, I see a commercial using his name, insinuating the exact same thing, like as far as proving things beyond a reasonable doubt. Like the government intentionally do things to where you can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. But at the same time, I feel like conspiracy will work, you know, because if we was to take me off this medicine today and sit in the courtroom and I said music was talking about, was rapping about me, movies was about me, that judge will ruin, he or she will ruin all their credibility to say, Terrell, you're being paranoid. Because everybody know, you know, that music and movies are about me. It's not even something where I done been in situations where people, and this is when I was first put on the medicine, and didn't even know I was on the medicine. You know, I was working a job, and a lady walked up to me and said, "Yeah, I seen your movie, talking about ATL." Said it just like that. I seen your movie, and I'm like, huh? You know, and I didn't even know that, you know, my mind was being what is being done to it. And so it's not a situation where people don't know what's going on. If anything, you know, it's a situation that people. It's crazy because I feel personally that it's different strokes for different folks.
Mhm.
And the government, they smart about how they do things. Like for example, there's a rapper that just got out of jail for, you know, selling drugs, and he just got out. And this is unrelated to my circumstances. And he was really loved in the community. He's not even in the state of Virginia, and he was really loved in the community, which is a good thing. I kind of, you know, feel like if he's loved by his people, that's good. You know, in a lot of ways, that same love that we get, or I can say we get, that people get of color for being in the streets and going to jail and coming home,
Mhm.
that same love is ultimately the same thing that's ruining us. Because on one instance, you can look at my situation where we should not be accepting this. People of color should not be accepting this, you know. But the thing with people of color, all you gotta do is make it about something street, and then all these codes come up that you're supposed to follow, like no snitching and all this.
Okay.
And we're the only ones that play by those rules. So it's really something. It's how was I? I was just thinking about this yesterday. It's really we are self. It's cultural sabotage. Like in a lot of ways, from a street perspective, we are sabotaging ourselves. Because the same thing when you can look at a situation in rough areas, where a little kid gets shot, they won't even tell the police who did it, and it could be an innocent kid that got no ties to either side feuding, and you'll see where nobody even want to tell the police,
Why do you think that happens?
because one, retaliation, and two, it's the culture, in the sense of the street culture.
Okay, because I was about to say that ain't all black
Yeah,
culture.
yeah, you're right. But, you know, like with my situation from the streets are being handled. And then I would say blacks who are who are not involved in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
they are controlled other ways. They're
How so?
because you see like the Al Sharptons, the NAACP, they get rewarded. In a sense of you can look at Obama for example. If they never put me on this medicine, I would bet everything that Obama wouldn't be president. I would bet everything. I don't even think he had the ambitions to be president just because Bush's America. People don't remember Bush's America. 8 months prior to me being on this medicine, Bush was leaving people to die on roofs in Hurricane Katrina. And Kanye get on TV and said Bush don't care about black people. So Bush's America and a post-Obama America is two different Americas. And it's like with the Al Sharptons, you know, instead of him, protesting on my behalf, he's on, I forgot one of the cable networks. He get a job for the cable network and is on there. And basically you got the black streets who all you gotta do is make something street and they're gonna live by street codes and not really, I would say, do anything that's gonna stop this. And then the black elite, they get titles and positions because a lot of them are educated, a lot of them are career driven, and they get titles and positions to make them turn a blind eye to things like this. And not that they could truly do anything anyway, but I don't see where they even make an attempt to, and that just goes back to one of the things I said, it's either all or nothing with our community. And, you know, it's something that's easier, looks good on paper to say all or nothing, but in real world applications, it's not as easy as it sounds. you know. So it's either all or nothing to go for self. All or nothing, self-preservation. And a lot of people pick self-preservation because a lot of times that's the smarter move. And I'm only 39, but people much older and wiser than me, older than me and wiser than me, grew up knowing how things work. And you can see like with Martin Luther King, he got assassinated. Now he got a day named after him, got streets named after him. But I remember looking at a dude from Houston, part of the Ghetto Boys music group. I ain't gonna say his name, but one of them, he was like, you know, when you can start a revolution, they kill the revolution. May not necessarily mean they're gonna kill you, but they kill the revolution and kill the dream. And then when the dream, and the revolution is no longer a threat, they give you your flowers. You know.
You said that was from the Ghetto Boys?
Yeah, one of the dudes from the group, the band, the Ghetto Boys, which was a rap group. And he wasn't referring to me specifically. He was just saying that that's how things work. And he's a lot older than me, been around a lot longer than me. So I feel like, and then you see the things where, like, how they want went around me to get me on this medicine.
Mhm.
Family, friends, pillars of the community, doctors from my childhood.
Mhm.
They went to it. Ain't they try to act like, oh, my family this, my family that. No, there's so many people beyond my family that played a role in this. Friends, family, pillars of the community, childhood doctors
Mhm.
who they never bring up. By the way, they never bring up the doctor that gave me the medicine. They never bring up, you know, where my family get upset and talk about the mayor of the town who's actually a criminal. They don't talk about that, you know. So again, like, think about everything you've heard about me since you've met me and what's passing through the radio airwaves. You don't see them talking about the cyst on my thyroid. You don't see them talking about the reason why I wear glasses because they overdose me. You don't They don't talk about none of that. They only gonna entertain what makes me look bad. You don't see them talking about the mayor. There's plenty of examples of other things to talk about that's just as important as stuff that you choose to entertain with me on a personal level that really ain't how you describe anyway. So back to what I was saying. What was I saying? Dang. You remember what I was saying? I'm sorry, I kind of got off track.
You went from the get.
Oh yeah, I remember. Like,
Okay.
I start here, start back here, which I might, you know, got sidetracked anyway. The guy from the Ghetto Boys and what he was saying, like, it's tough, because I'm pretty sure Obama would not have been elected president if it wasn't for me. I'm pretty
With,
sure.
with the Ghetto Boys,
Uh huh.
you tell me every rapper.
In the Ghetto Boys.
No, when you talk about the rappers and their music and
I only
what they
talk about
say.
relevant rappers.
Yeah. Mm.
Relevant rappers to
But when you
my
mentioned the Ghetto Boys, you
circumstance,
said I won't say his name.
because I don't feel it's entirely relevant to what got me in this office.
Okay.
I don't feel like he actually played a role into get me on this medicine.
Gotcha.
If I use a rapper's name, it's one that played a role in to get me on this
Okay.
medicine. You know. Now, if I go on YouTube and some random rapper, because shoot, 2006 Ghetto Boys weren't even making music. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not someone that's trying to play a blame game. I'm trying to stop the blame game from being played on me. And I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. I'm trying to stop this medicine, and if they get in trouble based upon decisions they made, that's on them.
You mean as
But
a group they won't making music?
yeah, but the problem with that is, I'm not trying to put myself in danger, because of the type of people I'm dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
because they are dangerous, and I ain't referring to rappers. Rappers are the least of my worries, because, for example, I don't pose a threat to no rapper. I don't know any rapper, haven't met any of these rappers,
Right.
don't have any dirt on these rappers, but or any other entity, mobsters, cartels, terrorists. Never met a mobster, never met a terrorist, never met a cartel, never met a blood, never met a crip, don't know no rappers. So at the end of the day, I pose no threat, not even to the pillars of my community, who the mayor have no criminal activity of theirs that I've witnessed myself that could jeopardize their freedom. Nobody. The only threat to me is the United States government. Because anybody else need not to fret, because what can I possibly tell on them? I don't know them. Why accuse me of being a snitch before medicine when you never done business with me? I never, in 2006, I would have believed that they thought I was a snitch too, for the simple fact that how they came out the woodworks. But as time progressed, I realized, and kind of figured out and put two and two together that, hey,
Mm-hmm.
they made all of this up, and it goes back before me even rapping and using your name in a rapper's name in a punchline. Like, for example, I said in a song, not something about Nike Air her like Jay-Z. And that was a punchline for when Jay-Z did that song with Maya talking about, I think the name was All About Me. And he said, "White rock wear a suit, white Nike her." You know, I used that as a punchline. Jay-Z come out with a song talking about suing people and catching feelings, and I think he was talking to me like there's a lot of stuff rappers was saying to me in music, even to the point where they pointing at the screen
Mm-hmm.
prior to me being on this medicine. They would say something and then point at the screen. So, is that me fishing, you know, for something that really isn't there? But given the circumstances to where I'm at right now, I think it's worth questioning, you know, like them saying something relevant to me and them pointing at the screen. I think it's worth a discussion. But then again, like I said, nothing can be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. But like they've been rapping about me for years and I knew nothing of it. And even at times, like me and my friends would hang around and they were like, "Look, that's Terrell right there," in the sense of listening to the lyric and saying that's how Terrell is, and none of us in the car knowing that the lyric is actually really about me in a sense. And yeah, so that's crazy. But this is not really something that's um and to get back to the point, the only reason they started rapping about me, it wasn't because they felt that I was somebody. They started rapping about me to inflate my value. You know, that's what I truly feel. I feel that the government went to the labels went to the artists, and they started rapping about me to inflate my value. So when they did this to me, it will make me seem like I'm more valuable and important than I really am. Because
Why do you think they need you in that position?
because it makes sense. It makes it make sense. It makes it make sense. And really, I'm expendable. And Ti was talking before the medicine. Ti was talking about the phoenix shall rise from the ashes, even after my life haters be out from a light. And my gut feeling always, the emotion that came to me when he said, even after my life haters be out from a light. And he was saying even after his life, but that always triggered in me that he was referring to my demise.
Why did you say that?
Because that's what my gut told me. Because
But he said his demise.
yeah, I know, but my gut told me that you know that he knew my fate was gonna be what it is today, and that lyric was one of the things that made me feel that way. Basically, I feel like I saw through the bullshit, to use profanity, and you know, uh, I kind of still feel that way because being a musician myself, I know the thinking patterns and the thought process, and for him to even say something like that, and he even referenced me in the situation. He said, "Even after my life, haters be out from a light because I'ma do in '06 what took them half of their life." Meaning like I was gonna become a rapper in 2006. They even made songs talking about I'm supposed to be a rap star riding around in that car, referring to a car I used to like. So when I say that my gut always told me that T.I. really aligned itself with people that sent me on a suicide mission, that my gut was telling me that for the longest. Even when I had faith in T.I. that they was trying to get me off the medicine, my gut always told me that.
Tell me what you mean about suicide mission.
This medicine.
Okay. So now you doing something to yourself.
No.
Okay.
No.
I want to make sure I clarify something. I got to clarify when you throw that word at me.
Yeah.
All right, so let me get us.
You know what.
All right, let me save us so we have our spot.